Hello and welcome to Manchester United, the D Unit's view. I'm back again. Obviously, I'm at home again, so I've got my better setup. So thankfully, the video and audio quality should be back to what you're used to. I apologise for my absence. I've obviously been away on school camp and away in Singapore for my partner's 30th, but we're back. And today we're looking at Ruben Amorim. He's now officially in the building. His backroom team has been announced. The coaches that have joined him from Sporting, we'll cover that very briefly as well. And then today's episode is purely going to be based on the players and how they fit into his system, who's likely to succeed, who's likely to find themselves on the outer. I'm going to go through the entire squad, and I'm going to go through who I think is likely to be the winners out of Amorim arriving and potentially the losers after Amorim has arrived. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I am going to be sharing my screen. So if you're following along on Apple or Spotify, please bear with us. I will be explaining exactly what I'm looking at, so do not fret. And if you're new around here, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. All right. So Ruben Amorim, he is here. So quickly, we're just going to have a look at his schedule for his first month or so in charge. And it is he's joining at a particularly busy time of the season. Obviously, after the last international break, he's got this week's worth of training. Well, most of the squad's actually already going to be back, so let's quickly talk about that. So Bruno Fernandes scored for Portugal and got himself booked, so he's suspended for the next game, and he's already going to be on his way back to Manchester to work with our new head coach, which is fantastic, which is brilliant, so he can hopefully learn where he's going to play, and hopefully we continue to see the Bruno that we saw under Ruud Van Nistelrooy for the last couple of weeks. Emmanuel Ugarte also scored for his first international goal, actually, for his national team. So that was really good. So let's have a look at some of the games he's got coming up. So he's got an easy start to begin with. So we'll quickly go down here. So the month of November, he's got Ipswich away in the Premier League next Saturday night, the 4:30 p.m. kickoff. Interesting. I thought it was a little bit later than that, or earlier. Oh well, apparently it's 4:30. And then he's got an easy game against Bodo Glimt, should be, in the Europa League on the 28th of November. And then he's got Everton at home in the Premier League on the 1st of December, which opens our very busy December period for Manchester United. So we've got 7 games during December, and that's just up until Bournemouth. Obviously, we play Newcastle on the 30th of December as well, which is our second last game of the season. I'm not sure why they haven't got the rest of the December games there. That makes no sense. Man United have published an article and they have left out the games that follow Bournemouth at home in the Premier League. Out of coincidence, I am actually going to be at Old Trafford for the Bournemouth game at home. I'm very excited for that. I've already got a ticket. I'm in the Stretford end, so that should be really good and something I'm definitely looking forward to. So look, the games that we've got. So he's got an easy start. Ipswich, Bodo Glimt, and then Everton. So he's got 3 games to hopefully get a run of 3 wins, and then he goes to Arsenal away, which will be his first big test in charge of Manchester United. Hopefully by then we've got some momentum, obviously building on the games that we obviously had under Ruud Van Nistelrooy. We could go in there, we could realistically go to Arsenal 7 games unbeaten, with potentially 6 wins in that time frame. So look, that's something to keep in mind. It's definitely something I like the look of, and I think could be well expected. I think that we're going to hit the ground running. The 3-4-3, I can see it. I can picture the players and how it's going to work. It's just going to be a matter of how quickly he can actually get this team to click in his image. And he's come out and said in his first interview with MUTV, it's really weird how they're not actually presenting Ruben Amorim at Old Trafford before the game. Like the first time the media actually going to get to talk to him, other than what Man United's released themselves, is at his pre-match press conference before Ipswich, which just doesn't make much sense. It feels like a lost opportunity there in terms of what I really think. So it's just a little bit disappointing, I suppose. So look, they have confirmed Amorim's coaching staff. That came out late yesterday. Well, no, actually, this article has been published at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so late yesterday, 2 o'clock for me, because obviously I live in Australia. So this is what the club have said. Manchester United can now confirm the arrival of 5 coaches that joined the club as part of Ruben Amorim's backroom team. Carlos Fernandes, George Vital, Adelio Candido, Emmanuel Ferro, and Paulo Barrera have all made the move from Sporting to United with our new head coach, who began work in Manchester earlier this week. The quintet joined a setup that already includes first-team coaches Darren Fletcher and Andreas Georgeson, plus assistant first-team goalkeeper coach Craig Mawson. Scroll down to find out more about the staff Ruben has brought to Old Trafford and the roles they'll take up in this team. So, Carlos Fernandez, assistant head coach. Fernandez is set to be Amorim's right-hand man, a job that he occupied at Sporting. The 29-year-old, he's only 29 years old, man. He's 9 years younger than me, has forged a close relationship with our new head coach, having also been on his staff at previous clubs Braga and Casapia. So this is good. It looks like the coaching team seem to have been together for quite a while, and they obviously work well, so hopefully that can translate to them working well at Manchester United and getting us up the right end of the table. George Vital, first-team goalkeeper coach. Prior to starting work together at Sporting in 2020, George and Ruben were Braga colleagues during the latter's time as a player and coach at the club. Vital will come in to lead our men's goalkeeping staff, working closely with assistant Mawson. Adelio Candido, first-team coach, subject to visa. Like Fernandez, Candido has been on Amorim's previous staff at Casapia, Braga and Sporting. The 28-year-old's employment remains subject to receiving a visa. Emmanuel Ferro, first-team coach. Ferro worked at Benfica between 2006 and 2009, during which Amorim was a player at the Lisbon club. The pair reunited in the dugout at Sporting, where Emmanuel spent 9 years in total before coming here. Interesting. Paulo Barrera, physical performance coach. Now, this is definitely something they need because of all the injuries that we had under Erik ten Hag in the previous regime. Barrera returns to the UK, having previously plied his trade at Arsenal and Liverpool. He also added experience to his CV in Saudi Arabia and the UAE before linking up with Ruben at Sporting in 2020. So everyone at United would like to welcome Adelio, Carlos, Emmanuel, George and Paulo to the club. So look, that's fantastic. We've got the backroom staff in place. They should hopefully be running training from Monday onwards when the players are due back, and hopefully they can implement some ideas in the short time frame that they have before, obviously, the game next weekend. So on to the main event for today, the players. So which players are here? And I'm going to be going through the squad as is printed on the Man United website. So goalkeepers. Andre Onana, I think we can safely say that he's going to be a lock as the number one goalkeeper, and I don't think we're going to be wasting any time trying to buy a new one anytime soon. I think he's looks pretty solid and he's good for a couple of years. I can't see any issues there. Altair Bayandere, we're barely seeing him. He's played a couple of games. For a reserve keeper who's not going to be playing, I think he's fine. He fits the bill. I mean, maybe you can get him out for someone else. And Tom Heaton just seems to be a bit like Scott Carson hanging around at Man City. I think he's fine as a third choice goalkeeper, but you probably want someone there a bit younger, maybe one of the youth team goalkeepers or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah, look, he's just there mainly for the experience and the goalkeeping now to help Andre Onana out more than anything else. So I think there's no problems there with the goalkeepers. Defenders. Now we have a boatload of defenders, so there's going to be a few here. Victor Lindelof, the great survivor. He just seems to be hanging around. I mean, he's actually looked not too bad this season, but that's the thing with Victor Lindelof. I think if he's a backup defender, he's perfectly fine. You just don't want him starting. That shouldn't be his job. He shouldn't be there if there's an injury or if, you need to rotate someone like the lesser cup competitions. I think he's fine. Matthias de Ligt, I think he'll be one of the starting back three. He has had a couple of difficult moments since he's arrived, but more often than not, he's been pretty serviceable. And I think that in a back three, that sort of system should hopefully play to his strengths. And I think that will definitely help. And I think Amorim's tactics will hopefully help de Ligt and get the best out of him. I can just see him being the rock in the middle of the defence. Now I'm going to come back to Mazraoui. Lisandro Martinez, I think, again, a back three will look really good. His ability to pass the ball out and start the play from the back line should be really good, and he's probably a nailed-on starter in the back left of the three. Harry Maguire, he's probably missing out here. I mean, the back three always suited him really well for England, but then again, he played on the left-hand side of the back three for England. I just can't see, he's out of contract in the summer, and, he's been a great servant, and he always gives his heart in whatever he does in terms of the football that he plays and stuff like that. I just think that, he's getting on. He's over 30 now. His body obviously isn't quite the same, and he has been injured quite a bit over the last couple of years. And obviously he's been out injured for a little while now as well. So, I don't know if he's back in training. I haven't really heard too much about that, but, he can't be too far away. Tyrell Malacia has played for the under-21s and seemed to do fairly well in that game. Look, the left wing back position that Ruben Amorim plays, so the left hand side of the four, that's open. And if Molasse, he always looked like a fit person, and at the moment, like Luke Shaw, we have seen nothing to suggest that he is going to remain fit. So like that place is really up for grabs, and we'll get into a few other players that it might be good for, but this could be a great time for Molasse to actually come back and be fit. I just don't know if he's got the quality to actually succeed at Manchester United. I think he's all right as a squad player, potentially, but he's someone you probably try to get fit and probably move on if he hasn't got the ability to kick on. Which we're unsure of because obviously he hasn't played for like 18 months. So, that's a lot of football that he's missed. And at the age he is, yeah, it's I don't know. Let's have a look how old he actually is. Actually, he doesn't look like we can. Okay. Yes, there we go. So he's 25. So, yeah, look. Yeah, dynamic and energetic, Tyrell Massa possesses the traits needed to be a top-class defender. Yeah, I think he's just been unlucky more than anything else with the injuries. Luke Shaw, I mean, he would probably be the most natural fit at left wing back, but again, he's just not injured. He's not consistent in terms of his ability to front up week in, week out. And I don't think Ruben Amorim is going to want to put his eggs in a basket that is the Luke Shaw basket when you just don't know if he's going to be available week to week. I just think there's better options. I think you try and get him fit and move him on in the summer and see if there's any takers for him. Johnny Evans, look, fantastic. He was a free. Probably it'd be nice if he was given the option just to retire whenever he wants. I think that's the best way of getting rid of Johnny Evans. Like we don't want to get rid of him, but like he is old. He's 36 now, 35. So yeah, I think that he's been quality though when he has been asked to play. So look, he's worth hanging around if he's just going to be helping out with like the squad and stuff like that. Lenny Yoro, I think that he's likely to start at the back right position of the three. He's obviously 18. He's got the speed, and hopefully he's back in training. So he could even be fit for the Ipswich game. I think that the arrival of Amorim is going to be fantastic for him because he backs in the young players that they're good enough, they're old enough, and he plays them. So I really think that he's going to be the nailed on back starting right, well, especially once he's match fit. I can't see any reason why he won't be. Now, the right wing back solution thing. There's a few players in midfield and forward line that we'll get to that potentially might actually take that spot. But at the moment, I think it's a direct face-off between Mazraoui and Diego Dalot. And based on the form that we've seen this season, you would have to say that Mazraoui probably deserves to start in front of Diego Dalot. The only caveat I have to that is that Diego Dalot is probably the better attacking player of the two. I just think Mazraoui offers a bit more in terms of his press resistant. He presses well. He's got an intelligent brain. Dalot, not so much of a high footballing IQ. I think that's the best way of putting it. I think he needs to lift his game. He needs to definitely start delivering attacking returns because I feel like it's a direct battle there for the right wing back slot between those two players at the moment. And I'm not even sure if they're really best suited to that. Mazraoui might actually play in the back right of the three at the back. I'm not sure. Like he's got a few spots where he can fit. I just think Dalot needs to really improve here. Otherwise, he could be in a bit of trouble. Now, last defender on this in the official first team squad list is Harry Mass. Now, I really think that the left wing back spot, Harry Mass looks tailor-made for. We might not actually have to buy someone there if he develops and kicks on and Ruben Amorim gives him the opportunity that Erik ten Hag didn't. We might already have our left wing back ready to go. There's no reason why Harry Mass can't be that player. He looks absolutely quality in the lower levels. It's surely just a matter of time before he does get a chance and a run out for Manchester United in the first team. So that's something to keep in mind 100%. I think Harry Mass really could be that player moving forward. We just have to wait and see how that develops. Now the midfielders. Christian Eriksen, he's pretty much announced that he's going to be leaving at the end of the season, so I would suggest that he's likely to be phased out. You could even see him depart in January, depending on how Ruben Amorim sets up. I just can't see any place in the system for him because he'd probably be in the two number 10 spots, one of them, but I just think there's a lot of options here, and I think it's pretty nailed on who's going to be starting in the midfield too. So we'll start with that. So it's 100% going to be Manuel Ugarte. He has already played for Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. He has exact knowledge of how Ruben Amorim likes to play. I can't see any way that Ruben Amorim doesn't get Manuel Ugarte to kick on from here. I think that he is going to be a much better player than what we saw under Erik ten Hag. and even what we saw under Ruud Van Nistelrooy, because of the fact that he knows how Amorim's teams like to play, and hopefully we see that implemented very early on, and we start seeing some really bossing performances from Ugarte. And then we can see the justification as to why we spent 50 odd million on him. That's hopefully what we'll see. And realistically, I think if he's fit, Kobbie Mainoo's partnering him in the midfield too there. I mean, there's an argument that you could say that Kobbie Mainoo could push forward and maybe be playing one of those 10 positions in the front three. I just think that he just looks quality. It looks like tailor-made position for Manuel Ugarte, particularly until like maybe Kone comes up and integrates into the first team. In the meantime, Kobbie Mainoo may not be 100% fit. I think you probably start Casemiro there with Ugarte. They did look like they dovetailed quite nicely for Ruud Van Nistelrooy during his caretaker stint, so there's no reason to think why they can't continue to do that under Ruben Amorim in his first few games, especially while Kobbie Mainoo is still getting back to full fitness. Now, a player I want to talk about that could be interesting. So Toby Coyler and Daniel Gore, they'll probably get opportunities, but again, they are the youngsters. I don't think they're going to be replacing Ugarte, Casemiro or Mainoo, but you never know. But they are there to provide good squad depth. And, there's players in there. I don't know if they're going to cut it at Manchester United. They might have to go on loan and maybe to a championship club or like one of the lower teams down the Premier League to get some game time, which could be important for their development, particularly over the next few seasons. Casemiro, as I said, I think he's likely to start there. However, I think you probably try and keep him through to the end of the season. You probably try to move him on. I mean, he's getting paid $300,000 odd pounds a week. It's taken up a substantial part of the wage bill, and I think you probably look to move him on at the end of the season, unless he's having an absolute blinder, because he is getting on. He's going to be 32, 33 at the end of the season. I mean, he is on the downhill trend. Let's be honest. So into the number 10 positions, Bruno Fernandes is 100% locked there. I can't see him playing in the midfield four. He's definitely going to be playing in the front three, which is where you want him. Under Ruud Van Nistelrooy, we saw a return to Bruno Fernandes playing higher up the pitch, getting into those more dangerous attacking positions, which obviously equaled more goals. And that's exactly what you want. I think that's really important and something that we need to be doing moving forward. And I think that Ruben Amorim hopefully will continue to get the best out of Bruno, and we'll continue to see the numbers that Bruno has been putting up. We might even see an increase on that with some luck. And then Mason Mount, the man that's always been injured. He really just needs to stay fit. If he's not fit and gets a run of it by the end of the season, I think you probably try to move him on, because having said all that, he looks tailor-made. For those two number 10 positions, Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount look perfect for this system. Traditionally, they haven't been like wide players or whatever in the Amorim type system. It's the wing backs that provide that. And we'll get into who potentially might fill those positions moving forward. But Mason Mount, this could work really well for him, but he needs to get his body right and he needs to stay on the park, because if he doesn't stay on the park, he's got no chances moving forward. He just needs to get fit, hopefully get a run at it. And, he might be the one that dovetails with Bruno Fernandes and whoever he decides to play up front. So look, this could be good for him, the arrival of Ruben Amorim. I don't think it's good for Christian Eriksen. I don't think it's good for Casemiro. I think those players will be phased out and we will see them both depart in the summer. Now, we have a boatload of forwards here to go through. Jadon Sancho obviously is on loan to Chelsea. That will be an obligation to buy, provided they don't finish below 14th or something like that, I think. So I think that's a gimme. Ethan Wheatley, he's young. He might actually get more of a run. We're not sure. Again, I think he could be aided by going out on loan for development and developing his game, because at the moment he hasn't been playing much football and he's only been playing under 21s. And I think that that's something that probably needs to change just for his own development. Anthony, look, there is a debate to say that he could be a great wing back. I just don't think he's got the attitude for it. He could be great as a left wing back. I personally believe he's got the work rate and the attitude. He just hasn't worked at Manchester United. I think we try and cut our losses. The end of the season or even in January, you probably try to move him on. I don't know if you're going to make any money on him. You're not going to make money on him. I don't know if you'll actually make anything from selling him, other than the fact that you get him off the wage bill. I think you're going to be taking a massive loss on him, but you probably look to move him on, because we've seen the odd flash under Erik ten Hag, but look, he just hasn't cut it at Manchester United. It's just been a massive failed signing in terms of the money we spent and what's been invested. Alejandro Garnacho, very young still and probably still developing the consistency in his game, but that's to be expected. He's putting up similar numbers to what Cristiano Ronaldo was doing all those years ago, and it took him 5 seasons to deliver the consistency that we seem to be demanding of Garnacho right now. I think he's fine. Now, considering this is really only his 3rd season in the first team, he should still be expecting him to integrate. He's still very, very young, and he's obviously going to make mistakes. Young players are inconsistent, generally speaking, more often than not. But look, there's a couple of positions he could play. He could play as one of the 10s, but more of a wider roaming one. So like Fernandes there with Garnacho, and then we'll get to the forward line in a minute. But you could also turn him into a wing back. The people have talked about the fact that that Ruben Amorim might turn him into a left wing back. I can see that. Again, it would just be interesting to see for the balance of the team. I expect that one of these forward players will be turned into a wing back, and the other one will be a defensive one, because that's generally how Sporting lined up, was with one attacking wing back and one bit more defensive, to provide that team balance that's desperately needed to make sure that you win more games than you do. Ahmad, he's a player I think that Ruben Amorim's arrival is going to be fantastic for. I actually really rate Ahmad. I think he's a great FPL asset. If you're interested in FPL and you do play, please go and check out my FPL videos. I've got so many of them, and it's definitely worth a look. Provide some really good insight. I think Ahmad, 4.9 million rated defender, is great for FPL, and I think that he's going to get the consistency of minutes that he needs at his age to kick on. And I really like him. He's got great dribbling ability, can run, can score, can create, can put chances on a platter for someone. I think there's not much there not to like. He's naturally good at pressing as well. I just think that he really fits here. I see him as the number 10 with Bruno Fernandes in those 2 number 10 inside roles that go forward. I think he's tailor-made for it. I could also see him being deployed at right wing back, but again, I just think with Mazraoui and Dalot there, Ahmad's probably playing in the one of those 10 positions. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if we'll see that, but it's definitely something that I think potentially will happen. Now, obviously, the last 3. Joshua Zirkzee, I hate to say it, and I've said it since we've pretty much bought him and past the first couple of games of the season. He's not made for the Premier League. I think you cut your losses. I've seen reports in the media, probably unsubstantiated, but that we're already willing to offer him as a make weight in a deal for Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, either in January or in the summer. Look, I just can't see Joshua Zirkzee cutting it for Manchester United as a forward player, and I don't know where he fits in. He's not going to be the player like Gyökeres is a direct runner, good finisher. Zirkzee is nothing like that. He is slow, he's clunky, and he doesn't score goals. We've already seen that, where he does not score goals. Other than his first touch, which somehow seemed to flukily go in, let's put it that way, he's had very good opportunities to score since then, and he's just not a goal scorer. So I just can't see him getting in the team. He's a good backup option until you can move him on, because I just think I don't understand his signing in the summer. It just makes no sense as to why he was signed. That's just what I think. Marcus Rashford, he needs to lift his game. There's been lots of media attention on him again this week because of the fact that he flew over to the States and watched a game courtside at Madison Square Gardens, had his entourage and that. Look, I don't mind him doing that, but you've got to start delivering on the field. Now, I can't see Marcus Rashford being turned into a wing-back. He doesn't have the defensive work ethic for it. I can see him as a number 10. He's looked a lot more creative this season, so he could be one of those players. Again, I just don't think that's his natural position. I don't know if he actually has a natural position in a Ruben Amorim team. I actually think his best position would be as the actual focal point, like the Gyökeres position. Because Marcus Rashford does have speed. He is, generally speaking, a fairly good finisher when his head is in the game. And I think that's the role where I see him fighting it out with Rasmus Højlund for, to be honest. And I think whoever Amorim settles on in that position is likely to have a killer season, because his teams at Sporting created chances for that striker in that position. And if the team's doing that, whoever's there, Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford, are going to be scoring lots of goals. And then they also become a great FPL asset as well. So look, I do personally believe he'll go with Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund's younger. I think he's got a bit more about him than Rashford does, as like that kind of leader of the line type thing. And I think that hopefully we'll see chances being created for Højlund. And then we'll find out whether he can actually score the goals required to become Manchester United's full-time centre forward. Look, well, that's what we're going to see. So look, that's my assessment of the squad, how it's going to work out. I think the real big winners under Amorim should be Ahmad, Rasmus Højlund potentially. Bruno Fernandes, I think, will continue to shine as well. And then I think we'll get some youth. We'll get some interesting. There'll be one or two players in these wing-back positions, whoever ends up there, that looks really good. And hopefully this is a sign of the start of Manuel Ugarte. And I just think that he's going to be the fulcrum of that team in the middle of the park. I think the spine pretty much picks itself. So, yeah. I mean, it would just be interesting to see who he goes in the wing-back positions and whether Mazraoui or Dalot fit into the back three, or if they're fighting it out for that one wing-back spot. It's going to be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments what you think might happen. That's just the way I see it at the moment. And look, we're probably going to see some under-18s and under-21s come into this as well. Ruben Amorim will get to work with his new coaching staff, and hopefully we'll start with a win against Ipswich, and hopefully hit the ground running and go on a bit of a run, and then hopefully we can go to Arsenal and take it to them and beat them. Because they aren't in the best run of form, and there's no reason why we can't go there and give them a proper game, even though we'll be newly into Amorim's start. So look, I'm well excited. For the first 8 or 9 game weeks, it's felt like an absolute slog, particularly under Erik ten Hag. It was only going one way. It's like the weight has been lifted, and I'm actually super excited for seeing what Amorim can get. And look, he's come out and basically said he wants to build his identity. His team will play without fear. And those are words of joy and music to my ears. And hopefully it's music to your ears as well. Again, if you're new around here, please press the subscribe button. Make sure you like the video and share it with your friends. And I'll catch you later in the week for a preview of Ipswich Town and any other news that comes out between now and then. Thanks for watching. That's been Manchester United, the D Unit's View.